how do you get confident on camera? Because it's not like you just wake up one day, you get struck by lightning, and bam, you're confident, right? Because what if you're worried about what other people are going to think of you? What if you want to post about your business, but you feel self-conscious? What if you're having literally imposter syndrome because you don't feel like you are that person yet who creates content, who puts herself out there? Or what if you are filming your stuff and then you feel cringe, right? Like, how do you get that confidence that you are finally comfortable in front of your camera, you are comfortable to speak, to be seen, to post whatever the fuck you want so that you can build that dream life? How do you position yourself in a way that you are the authority, you are the leader? Because trust me, I have been exactly where you are, and so I know where to start. Welcome to the podcast. It's me, your host, as always, Malika, content creator, entrepreneur, and your girl to personal branding and manifestation. Now, I really want to dive into how you can get into a next level of comfortability when it comes to creating your content, when it comes to being in front of the camera, when it comes to positioning yourself as the leader, as that voice in your industry, as that voice that like has an impact, right? Like, how do you get confident creating content? How do you stop cringing? How do you stop worrying about what everybody else has to say? And I feel like I am the perfect person for this because I used to post videos when I was in high school. I would always get people bothering me about it. It was always the same people, but that never stopped me, all right? And I kept building my confidence in it every single day until I finally got a brand opportunity. I got to build my business from my content, attract amazing client from that. So there's really so many opportunities that comes when you start posting content and using your voice, get comfortable in front of the camera. And so I know what it feels like to record your video and cringe so bad at your voice while you're editing it, or rethinking everything that you just filmed and then just ending up not posting it, or you post it for a week and then you hide it away because you're literally embarrassed. Okay, I know how that feels. Okay, and I am here to turn you into the badass content creator that will get all that success, that will feel so freaking confident, and that other people will look up to. Okay, so this is gonna be so good. All right, if you're already creating content, this is also like just a good little reminder for you, a good little like boost if you're listening to this in the morning, all right, to start your day. So let's just jump right in. Let me just start off by saying that any skill acquired is acquired through practice. Lots and lots of practice. All right, because if you are always waiting to be confident to create your first piece of content, you are looking at this wrong, because confidence is built through action. So this means that before you get confidence, you need to do the action to gain the confidence, to then repeat the action to gain more confidence from that, and keep it going in a loop. That is how you first start creating confidence. But of course, like before you start taking action, there is a reason why there's resistance, right? There is a fear, there's resistance in the way. And so if we never truly take a step back and look at that, it's always going to be there to haunt you, okay? And so you want to look at like, why is there so much resistance in the way, right? Like, what is the real reason why I am self-sabotaging? Because that is literally what you are doing. You are self-sabotaging from all the success that you want, from the person that you actually want to become and be, right? And so you're like holding yourself back from all of these things that you want, right? And so most of the time, what is the main issue is a lack of trust in your vision. And so think about this, right? If you already don't believe that your business is going to succeed, or that you can get paid doing your passion, right? Creating content, or posting about your business, right? Like you are already telling your mind, hey, like this is not worth it because it's not actually going to work. And so what's going to happen? You are not going to take action because you have already decided the outcome that is going to happen, right? But the outcome is only dictated from your belief. And I am here to tell you right now, okay, that if you have a goal, if you have a vision that you want for yourself, the only difference from you achieving that and getting that vision is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your vision. Okay? Having trust in uncertainty is going to be your superpower. And now maybe you're wondering like, okay, like how do I have trust? How do I trust? How do I trust, right? Like there is no like real answer to this, okay? Like you just gotta start. You gotta start and trust that this will come into fruition for you, and trust that the external proof comes after, not before, right? Like, so you have to create that internal proof before you get external proof. Okay. And so to trust in your goals and trust in your vision is such a huge thing, right? And the thing that I see the most has to be the fears of what other will say or what other will perceive you, right? And if this is the reason why you are holding back, okay, I'm going to open your eyes to a little bit of truth that I actually told one of my friends that actually wants to start posting content. And she was telling me, you know, I really want to start posting content and everything, but I'm scared of letting these people down, or I'm scared that, you know, they're going to judge me, or I'm scared like I'm not going to be good for this or whatever, right? And I looked at her straight in the eyes and I was like, you are projecting. Like all of these things that you are saying these people are going to think of you or say about you, right? Like they come from your own thoughts. Like no one actually told you these things, right? You were just assuming these things because you are the one thinking these things about yourself, and it's much easier to put the blame on other people than to look at how you actually feel about yourself and how you actually perceive yourself in that moment, right? And so this is number one projecting, okay? Like projecting what you are actually feeling about yourself. And so when you start realizing like all of these worries that you have about other people are actually your own projections and your own fears that you are projecting into other people, this is when you can really dive into your own fears and be like, okay, let me stop putting this on other people as if it's theirs and they're bringing this to me, but instead like this comes from me, from within, and so I need to fix this first so that if ever anything happen on the outside, I am literally unbreakable, right? Because you have that strong foundation, and you have to understand that the people who knows what it takes to succeed will never ever judge you for doing what it takes to succeed. Okay, and so that is just something to remember. And what I really want you to do is get clear on why you want this, right? Like, why do you want to create content? Is it because you want to get paid? Is it because you want to put yourself out there? You want to have more visibility? You want to have an amazing community, right? Because when we focus too much on the negative things, right? We are like in this negative mindset. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to focus on why you want this, right? Because this keeps you grounded, right? Why do I want to create this content? Why do I want to become this person, right? This is the person that I want to be. I want to inspire people. I want to make an impact. I want to follow my passion. I want to stay true to what I want to do with my life, right? Like, what are the reasons that you want to create content, and get really, really clear on that. And next, I want you to take a piece of paper, okay? And think of if everything went right for you when it comes to your content. How would it feel to be posting your content? Would you feel scared? No. If you knew that there was so many people looking up to you, that you're inspiring, that you are helping, that you are motivating, that you're creating impact, that loves your content, right? Like, how would it feel to be posting your content, right? Because you are the one who sets the tone, okay? And so if you are setting the tone for all of these amazing things and you are focusing on achieving all these amazing things when it comes to your content, that is what you are going to create. And so I really want you to think, how would it feel posting my content, knowing that all of this is going to happen for me, right? And it might not happen right away, but it will happen. How would that feel? And now next, when it comes to creating your content, I have to say that you need to let go of the idea of perfectionism, and you need to value more momentum than perfectionism. Because if you actually want to gain confidence, right? If you actually want to show up and it feels good to show up, you feel confident posting your content, right? You absolutely need to value momentum over perfection, because perfection is created through momentum, right? It's not like it's perfect and then you post it and then you get momentum through that. No, because every time that you are like, oh my God, this needs to be like this needs to be perfect. Oh my God, my face looks like this. Oh my God, my nose is like this. Or oh my God, like there's this one thing. All of these things is you are using this as an excuse, okay? So your perfectionism is just an excuse for your fear to take over, okay? And if you want to be the person that you actually dream to become, you need to prioritize momentum over it being perfect. Because like I said, it will get better and better as you create that momentum, right? It's not the other way around. It's not like, oh my God, once it's perfect, then I'm going to post and I'm going to start posting more. It doesn't work that way. And trust me, as someone who has been creating content for many years now, I can tell you that it is honestly a habit. It becomes a habit because I have personally noticed when you stop posting, it like becomes harder to post, okay? Even if you've been posting for a long time, it's like a habit, right? And so this is why you need to prioritize momentum. There are times where like in my podcast, I could like redo my podcast, or I could redo this, or I could redo blah, 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 whatever. But I don't. Why? Because I value momentum over perfectionism, and I value authenticity over perfectionism. And something else that helps tremendously is to stop taking multiple takes, okay? Stop taking multiple takes, because what this does is that eventually it stops feeling authentic, right? And your content is so much more powerful, and the message goes through so much more powerfully when you are literally in your element, when you are authentic, when you are feeling the emotions that you're feeling with the message that you're saying, right? Like this is when you're the most authentic, right? When you're doing it one shot, no like second take or third take, right? Because eventually you just get discouraged and you start overthinking it. And so super huge step is to just take the shot, okay? If you don't like it, what I do a 2 shots rule, okay? If I do it once, I don't like it, I can do it a second time, but there's no third time. There's no third time, there's no fourth time, there's no fifth time. There's just twice. That is all. And most of the time I just take the first shot, because that's just what feels the most authentic. That is when you are in your most like powerful state, your most authentic state, okay? The next thing that I really want to talk about is the compounding effect. Now, I did talk about this in another episode, which was about the mindset of all successful content creators. And this is basically the effect of compounding on one another, okay? So let me explain this when it comes to content creation. So the compounding effect is exactly what it sounds like, right? It's like things compounding on top of each other. And basically, when you are taking the action in the moment, right? This is when you remember taking the action the most. But this is also when you will not see results. All right? And as you start piling on each action on top of each action, right? So posting your content, right? It creates a compounding effect, right? And all of these compounding effect accumulates over time. And then you start gaining result when you don't even remember taking the action in the first place. That is when you have that compounding effect. You have enough action compounding on itself that you start seeing result. And most of the time when you are not seeing result is because you are putting a break in your compounding effect. If you stop, if you take too long, if you overthink, right, you are putting a break in your compounding effect. And when you see the most result is when all of these action compound on each other, and you get the result when you don't even remember taking the action that got you these results in the first place. Because when you are in the moment, that's when you remember the action the most, right? That is when you're like, I want to see the result right now. But that's not when you see the results, especially when it comes to your content. Because perfect example for this, there was a moment that I posted a video that I thought was so good, and I was like, oh my god, like this video is so good, it's so valuable, I killed it, like, and I posted it, and I literally feel like it flopped, and I was like, oh my god, like what the fuck, like I guess like this is not good, right? And I kept it up, right? And I kept posting more and more content, and eventually that video got to 70,000 views, and I was like, oh, well, I guess it was always a good piece of content, right? It just needed the compounding effect. This is why this is so important to remember, especially when it comes to your content. Because I have seen this where business owners like post about their business, and they post maybe like twice a week for a month. And then they're like, oh my God, like they're so discouraged, and they stop posting, and they're like, this doesn't work for me, right? But it's like, you cannot just expect these results to come in when like you've only been at it for like a month and you've been posting like 8 pieces of content. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how this works, right? You need more of a compounding effect that stack up on itself. And this is why this is so important to remember when it comes to your mindset with content creation. The next thing that I do want to bring up is your identity, because I get it, okay? Especially when you are first starting out creating your content, like you don't feel like a content creator. You don't feel like you're supposed to be on camera. You're like, who am I to be posting this video? Like, I am nobody. Like, who am I to be posting this? And here's the truth, okay? There is an audience for literally anyone. You could be literally having the most boring life ever, and there will still be an audience for you. There will still be an audience that relates to you, that relates to your values, that relates to who you are as a person, that relates and that loves what you do. You simply have to be brave enough to show up. And here's the thing when it comes to your identity, okay? When you do something new, it will never feel like you at first, right? Because I've heard this so many times. Like, it's like, oh, but like, I don't feel like I'm ready. Like, I feel like I'm not really like a content creator. Like, I feel like I'm not ready for this. Like, I'm not a content creator, right? But it's like, how will you become a content creator? Like, how do you become an artist? You start painting and you get better and better and better, and eventually you sell your art, right? And so it's the same thing. It's like, how do you become a content creator? You start creating content and get better and better and better at it, right? As soon as you start posting content, you are a content creator. Like, there is no badge, there's no one that's coming with a diploma, okay? You get to decide that you are now taking on this identity of a content creator. And this is why it's so important to stop strengthening bad affirmations. Okay, so bad affirmations of like, oh, I'm not that good in front of camera, like I'm not a natural like talking, I don't know how to be good, I don't know how to like create good content, like I'm not good at creating content. All of these things are bad affirmations. I don't want that. Instead, I want you to reverse engineer that, okay? So instead, what you're going to do to amplify this new identity that you're taking on, okay? You are going to tell yourself, like, I am positioning myself as the leader in my content. I am taking on this new identity, and I am becoming the best content creator that I can be every single day. Every single day, I'm getting better and better at being a content creator. I'm getting better and better at being comfortable in front of the camera. I'm literally becoming that version of myself that I want to be, right? So switching up for these affirmations are going to get you in a different state of mind completely, okay? The next thing when it comes to identity is to stop using others as a way to shame yourself, right? So that could be like comparing, that could be when it comes to like what other people are gonna say about you, right? Like stop using other people as an excuse to shame yourself or be mean to yourself, right? And so when you start really being real and being like, okay, like actually this is just me shaming myself, this is just me being like, you know, like then you get to change that and stop doing that. Now, let's talk about showing up as you, because I want you to feel like you are the leader, you are the one setting the tone, you are that confident, badass bitch in your content. People are like literally attracted to you. They're attracted to your content. They love what you do. The first thing that I will say about this is to work alongside your strength and not against them. Okay, so what I mean by this is that let's say you have a big personality, right? Or you're very outgoing or you're very joyful, right? How can you incorporate that in your content? Right? Because it's not going to be the same if you're someone who is maybe a bit more reserved, a bit more calm when you talk, right? You can use that to your advantage, right? You don't need to shapeshift when you're creating your content. And this is something that I feel like not enough people talk about. It's like you need to honor who you are authentically at your core, right? And I'm not talking about like shyness or being not confident. That is not who you are at your core, okay? Because these are things that can change. But I'm talking about things about like the way that you speak, the way that like your personality is, like your belief, your things like that, you know, like these are all parts of who you are, and like you can use these as your strength, because it's not everyone who loves someone who's always like so like pumped up right when they talk. It's not always so like, not everyone. Some people love like that like angelic like calm voice, or like, right, like there's so many things that like makes you you. And showing up authentically as you is truly, truly going to be your superpower when it comes to your content, okay? Because there are so many different kind of people in the world. And if you are trying to shapeshift, or if you're thinking like, oh, but like this person is doing like this, so I should be doing like this. Like, no, you should not. Why? Because that is not aligned with you. That is not authentic to you, right? And that's what we want. We want it to be authentic to you, to who you are, so that you can really attract an audience that loves what you do, that feels so aligned with you, to who you can also connect with, right? That's what we want. And so creating your content doesn't mean that you have to be the loudest. It doesn't mean that you have to be the craziest personality. It just means to be showing up as you. Put your blinders on and stop looking at how everybody else is showing up, and look at what feels so good to you, what feels natural to you. When it comes up to showing up authentically as you, is going to be talking. Talking is so, so powerful. And the best way to create your content talking is to imagine that you are talking to a friend, or you are sending a video on Snapchat to your friend, or you are in a coffee shop talking to one person. Why? Because this, number one, allows you to kind of like take off the presenter hat off, right? Because we want it to feel real, we want it to feel authentic. For me, when I set up my camera, I imagine that like I'm talking to my friend who's asking me for advice. And so it allows me to be so much more genuine in the way I speak and my mannerism. You know, I use my hands a lot. Okay, if you're watching the videos when I talk, I cannot not use my hands. I don't know why I talk with my hands, okay? And so all of these things allow you to just show up more authentically as you, okay? Now, when it also comes to talking, it's so important to not seem like you are reciting a text. And this is why I first said, okay, to not do multiple takes, right? Because you need to feel authentic when you are speaking. That is what makes you magnetic, right? That is what positions you as that leader, right? And being confident in your authority is going to be major when it comes to your content, okay? So How can we do that? Let me show you. First thing is going to be to trust in what you have to offer. Okay? So when you are positioning yourself as that leader, as that authority, whatever it is that you are creating your content in, right? You need to trust and know exactly what it is that you bring to the table. Why? Because this helps you stop doubting yourself, okay? This helps so much because you're like, oh my God, this is the value that I bring. This is the value in my offer. And this keeps you grounded in your authority because you're like, I know that this is what I bring to the table, right? The next thing for staying grounded in your authority, in your leadership, is going to speak with conviction, right? And so when you are speaking, don't doubt yourself. Don't be like, oh my God, is this person going to agree with me? Oh my God, is this actually right? Right? Because when you start doing that, again, you are comparing yourself, you're looking around, right? And so put your blinders on, okay? And simply state what you believe in, what your truth is. It doesn't matter what is the truth for everybody else. What matters is what your truth is, and you will start attracting an audience that believes in that same truth and that same things that you preach the way you are, right? You will start aligning and becoming that leader for these people, right? So that is how you stay grounded in your position of leadership. And now maybe you're wondering, okay, that is all great, but how do I stop cringing at myself? Okay, and that honestly, I really get. I really understand because I used to cringe so bad on my content. Every time I would hear my voice, I was like, oh my God. And at first, I was doing content in English. And then at some point, I started doing content in French, and then I started cringing again after I just resolved the issue to not cringing anymore with my voice in English. I started cringing at my voice in French. So when I would hear my voice in French, I would cringe again. And here is what I've learned. The only reason why you are cringing at your voice or at yourself is simply because you have never been in a position where you are the outside viewer as to your voice, right? Because when we are speaking to someone else, right, we don't really hear our voice. We don't pay that much attention to our voice, right? And so this is just something that you need to get used to. And this is built through momentum, like I said before, right? And so there's no special sauce or special solution. You just gotta do it regardless of how you feel, regardless of the fear. When it comes to seeing yourself on a screen in your content, right? I know sometimes you can feel like you're cringing at it or you're cringing at your voice, but here's the truth, right? The more that you embody this new identity, the less you will find it cringe. And here's the thing, when you start seeing results and when you start understanding that everybody who is believing the same thing as you, who is on the same path as you, who has the things that you want to have, these are the people that will love and be so happy that you got into content creation in the first place, right? And so it doesn't even become cringe anymore. To me, I don't even think that anyone doing content can be cringe because it's just simply not in my belief system. And so now it is literally impossible for me to cringe at my content because it is not part of my belief system anymore. And so the more you go through this momentum, the less it will be holding you back because the more you are breaking this belief that it's cringe, you will not find it cringe anymore because this is the thing that will actually be bringing you success. So why is success cringe? It will not be cringe. You are the one that needs to decide the life that you want to live. If you are listening to this, it's because I know you want to have that dream life. I know that you want to live your life in alignment. You want to do what feels like you, what you truly want to do, right? You want to follow your passion. You want to create content. You want to be seen. You want to be out there, right? And so it's truly about deciding what is the kind of life that I want? Do I want to be in the dark all the time? Or am I finally ready to step in and accept myself fully, right? Because that's the thing. When you always want to be in the dark, you are not accepting yourself. You are not loving yourself. And to be showing up and simply showing up as you and putting yourself out there, that is love. That is acceptance. Even if you feel like it is not 100% there yet, that is you doing the work, right? Like when you are putting in the action, that is you putting in the work. You will never feel 100% ready. You just gotta jump and take the leap of faith. And I know that if you are here, it is because you know you have what it takes. That's why you wanted to learn about how to get confident in front of the camera. Now, I really hope that this was helpful. If you have any more questions about this, let me know down in the comments. If you are watching on YouTube, or even if you are tuning into the podcast, you can leave in the review section. If you have any question or a specific topic about building your confidence on content creation, I'd love to help you more, because I want you to show up as that badass bitch who's ready to become who she's meant to be, who is confident in front of the camera, who is confident posting her content, who literally does not give a fuck about what everybody else has to say, and who feels so good in herself. Okay? And now, if you are not already tuned into our free Facebook community group, definitely hop in. Stay amazing, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.